Welcome to the Nevis Newscast. Today is Wednesday, 31st May 2017. I'm Felicia Liebert. The groundbreaking ceremony for the diagnostic wing at the Alexandra Hospital took place earlier today. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Nicole Slack-Liebert, in giving the overview of the project, stated that there were various meetings to discuss the needs of the hospital and the decision was made to erect a diagnostic wing. She outlined what the project will entail.
These series of meetings identify the immediate priority areas for relocation and service expansion to include a state-of-the-art operating theater, expanded diagnostic capacity in the form of new laboratory and radiology departments with CAT scan services and specific lab areas for cytology and histology, which is useful in cancer diagnosis. A newly constructed dialysis unit and additional private ward facilities also form part of this project. The relocation of these departments and the construction of new departments will now also create much needed space for us to address other areas in the hospital, such as the separation of the accident and emergency departments and outpatient areas, which currently are located in the same space.
Slack-Liebert also spoke about the preparations that are currently taking place in order to facilitate the project.
This undertaking is no small feat, as we will be constructing this facility as an extension of the current one at the same location while maintaining quality patient care. Preparations have included the relocation of the operating theater and pediatric ward, the changing of doors, the placing of AC systems on various wards, with the blocking off of corridors and relocation of kitchens to commence soon.
The team in charge of executing the project include building contractors Clive Evelyn and Edric Pemberton, electricians Glenn Byron and Davian Fraser, plumbers Noel Williams and Wilson Grant, air condition contractors Gaspri and Finished Touch, and electrical engineer Lawton Era. According to Slack-Liebert, this project, upon completion, will be the biggest project to come to the Alexandra Hospital since the opening of the flamboyant nursing home in 2006. The symbolic groundbreaking was done by Premier Amy Chatterton of the SIDF, Leon Lescott, owner of Finished Touch, Matron Aldris Pemberton Diaz, and Medical Chief of Staff Dr. Cardell Rollins. Other remarks came from Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Vance Amory, Minister of Health, the Honorable Mark Brantley, as well as Chair of the Sugar Industry Diversification Foundation, Robertine Chatterton. The month of June is observed as Child Month here on Nevis, and the early childhood workers on Nevis have been working feverishly to ensure that activities for the month comes off without a hitch. The first activity is an address by Premier and Minister of Education, the Honorable Vance Amory.
This year, being the 33rd anniversary of Child Month, will be celebrated under the theme, "For every child, early moments matter." During the first 1,000 days of a baby's life, his or her brain cells can make up to 1,000 new connections every second. These new connections contribute to children's brain function and lay the foundation for their future health and happiness.
It is noted that the first 1,000 days of a child's life is when the most important connections are made in the child's development. These connections are in relation to social and environmental factors and have the ability to manifest into harmful traits later on in the child's life.
When you are playing with your children, hugging them and reading to them, you are actually caring for a better future and for your children and grandchildren's prosperity. Giving your children a good start is both a moral and social priority. In so doing, I urge you to, 1, play with your children and bond with them. As noted in a documentary entitled The Beginning of Life, playing is the essence of children. They play from the moment they can move. They live through play. End of quote. Therefore, playing with your children will assist you in developing an attachment to your newborn children.
The Premier noted that the administration will continue to invest and support all efforts to ensure that the future generation is safe and secure.
The Nevis Island administration will continue to expand health and social services to our young ones and strengthen support services for parents and caregivers. As a government, we recognize that early moments in a child's life do matter, and early experiences impact the child's future development. Let me, on behalf of the Nevis Island administration, wish each and every one of you a successful, productive, and inspiring 2017 Child Month. In celebrating this month, parents, guardians, and caregivers must remember that it is not the toy that the child needs to play with, it is you.
Child Month 2017 is being observed under the theme For Every Child, Early Moments Matter, and it begins on June 1st, 2017. The Nevis Cultural Development Foundation is hosting a National Cultural Policy 2-day workshop for St. Kitts and Nevis on Thursday 1st and Friday 2nd June. The workshop is also sponsored by the Ministry of Culture, the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation, and the UNESCO Secretariat, and will be held at the Bird Rock Beach Hotel. International and regional cultural policy expert Dr. Keith Nurse outlined the purpose of the workshop.
What's particularly interesting about Nevis is the high density of cultural artifacts, particularly built heritage. It's also the festivals on offer here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and particularly the brand possibilities associated with historical personalities like Alexander Hamilton and so on. So we see that St. Kitts and Nevis has a rich cultural tradition that can be better tapped into.
Premier Emery spoke about the importance of the workshop.
It's important for us to have someone like Dr. Nurse come to, in a way, refocus our minds and attention on the importance of our cultural heritage and our history, and how we can utilize that heritage and that asset, as he's called it, to the benefit of our country and our people. We clearly, as a government, want our people to buy into this revisioning of the whole concept of the importance of culture, the importance of what it means to us and how it can benefit us in the long term. And I want, therefore, to say to Dr. Nurse and to Mr. Maynard, who represents UNESCO, and to Mr. Rollins from the foundation, Cultural Foundation, and our dear friend from the Cultural Foundation in St. Kitts, I think I probably got that right, that we welcome this initiative, and I think it will bear great and long-lasting fruits for us.
Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Vance Emery. Still to come.
We are doing that for a number of reasons, to insulate ourselves, because we have zero control over the price of oil. That's true. But we will be able to control our geothermal, because that belongs to us.
The details when we return. Welcome back. Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, said that while the government is yet to receive a response from the opposition, his cabinet reasonably expects that by the next meeting of the Parliament, we would be able to constitute the Public Accounts Committee. During the Tuesday, May 23, 2017 sitting of the National Assembly, Prime Minister Harris disclosed that he had written to the Leader of the Opposition requesting that he propose 2 nominees to be part of the 5-member Public Accounts Committee, one of whom will serve as the committee's chairperson. The other 3 committee members have already been identified by the government. Speaking with the press unit in the office of the Prime Minister, Dr. Harris stressed that there was no legal requirement for his government to give the privilege to the Leader of the Opposition to name the chair of the Public Accounts Committee. Commenting on why he thinks there has never been a functioning Public Accounts Committee in St. Kitts and Nevis, Prime Minister Harris stated that although committees were previously formed, there was no establishing framework as to how such a committee should operate. Furthermore, the Honorable Prime Minister said his government intends to address this serious shortcoming and bring a legislative framework that will allow for the proper functioning of the Public Accounts Committee. The standing orders of the Parliament state that the duties and powers of the Public Accounts Committee, drawn from both sides of the lawmaking body, are to ascertain that the authorized expenditure during each financial year, including supplementary expenditure, has been applied to the purposes prescribed by the National Assembly, scrutinize the causes which may have led to any excess over authorized expenditure, and to verify applications of savings on other authorized items of expenditure, make an effective examination of public accounts kept in any department of government, and to summon any public officer to give any information or any explanation or to produce any records or documents which the committee considers necessary in the performance of its duties. Deputy Premier of Nevis and the person charged with leading the geothermal pursuits of the Nevis Island administration note that there has been some setbacks, but the process is continuing. This is happening against the backdrop where the Nevis Electricity Company is about to install a new engine with the capacity of generating near 4 megawatts of electricity.
Even the experts, as they reinforced today, will tell you that you need backup. So what we're doing now in relation to NEVLEC, we had to do. We were delayed clearly in terms of the geothermal implementation, so we had to do, because we cannot, while we wait on geothermal, have our people with an unreliable power supply.
Understood.
The truth is that there has been no investment, King, in power in a very long time in Nevis. No investment.
Brantley said that the U.S. government and the government of New Zealand continues to provide assistance to the administration in its quest for geothermal energy development, something which was evident last week when there was a consultation at the Red Cross building.
If the geothermal promise of somewhere between 150 to 400 megawatts could be realized, then it means that we have power for sale. We could supply all of Nevis, which is roughly now 9 megawatts at peak. We could supply all of St. Kitts, which I was told was somewhere in the region of 35, 40 megawatts. And you still had power left over where you could talk to St. Bart's and St. Martin and Statia. The close islands, not Jamaica, as we were told in the past, because you can't carry it in a suitcase. You must do it. The technical limits to what you can do by way of underwater cables.
The minister noted that the government has not ruled out the possibility of transmitting power to neighboring islands, as it depends on the cost involved.
Our purpose is now we want geothermal energy to benefit the man in Butlers, in Brownhill, in Zion, in Jessops. That is the objective.
The price of oil on the world market for the last few years have been relatively low, and that may have created a false sense of security as the cost to generate electricity had fallen.
As everybody now is generating energy using diesel at a cheaper rate because the global oil prices have been low. But you know what? All the pundits have said, and the experts today told us the same thing. Price have started to creep back up. And so prices now are over $50 a barrel. The other day were down to 32. So the more they creep up, King, so they start to get up to 70, $80, $90 a barrel. That is when you run the country now runs itself into bankruptcy. So we are doing that for a number of reasons to insulate ourselves, because we have zero control over the price of oil.
That's true.
But we will be able to control our geothermal, because that belongs to us.
The Honorable Mark Brantley was a guest on the show Government at Work, hosted by Keith Scarborough, Public Relations Officer with the Nevis Island Administration. That's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I'm Fredicia Liebert. Thank you for viewing.
At a loss as to what's going on in Nevis? Tune into NNC on NTV. Don't worry if you don't have cable either. NNC will bring the news to you wherever you are. Facebook and Facebook Live. YouTube and YouTube Live. NevisTVOnline.com. Roku app, NTV mobile app, Smart TV, Apple TV, and any other IPTV platforms. When me ANC and you ANC, NNC.